and I'm happy to be with you this morning. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Welcome to this side of time. I am Edmundo Pino. I'm thinking. I am always thinking. When I work on the street, I'm thinking. When I'm in bed, I'm thinking. Why are things the way they are? I just keep thinking. So the title of this class is Saving Nigeria. The imperative for mental reawakening. And most of the times I will say, why do we behave the way we behave? Why is it that many parts of the world are moving from third world to first world? Why is Africa still playing at this level? A story came out during the week. It's a story about a lady called Aisha Ashimugu. I don't know if you saw that story. The first time I noticed Aisha Ashimugu, she was dancing to the melodious tune from Flavor. Flavor was on stage, and Flavor was hyping her. And the way she danced, the way she moved, her dance steps were calm, and they were going with the rhythm of the song. So that got me interested. I liked the way she carried herself dancing to the song. I watched that video about 4 or 5 times. And I saw Flavor hyping her to high heavens. That was the first time I took notice of her. Then I decided to ask, who is she? Aisha Ashimugu is known for grand celebrations and luxury. But at the moment, she's a fugitive. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has declared her wanted. The charge? Money laundering and criminal conspiracy. She was summoned for questioning, but she chose exile instead. Now the hunt begins. And I'm asking, Aisha is known for luxury. She's connected. But when EFCC invited her, she chose exile instead. She chose exile. Why is she running? Is it that the EFCC is witch hunting her? Now you can't make judgment when EFCC calls. You don't even trust EFCC. You don't even trust the court. Is she scared she will not get justice? Because as things stand now, anybody can use the court. Anyway, that's not the subject. But she chose to run away. This does not mean she's guilty. It's only time that will tell. But it's the life she led or the life she lives that interests me. And another thing that interests me is that how did she become so rich? Because we now live in a society where somebody just wakes up in the morning and just becomes a billionaire. And society celebrates him or her. The musicians sing their praises. The next moment they gain political power. And they continue to ruin society. You know, when you look at Aisha, wealth dripped from her fingers. The world watched her excesses with envy. But one thing I've learned about life is that there is a price for vanity. And that is where I'm coming to vanity. The African and the subject of vanity. Anyway, the law does not dance to the music of extravagance in a society where the law is truly justice. Mark that word, in a society where the law is truly justice. The present Nigeria does not look like a society where the law is true justice. It is becoming clearer by the day that justice can be bought, justice can be influenced. That is the society that we are saying should be saved. Let's look at the words of James Allen. I don't know many of us have read books written by James Allen. James Allen was a philosopher, a deep thinker. So let me quote from his work. James Allen says, "The pleasure seekers, the lovers of excitement, the hunters after novelty, and the victims of impulse and historical emotion lack that knowledge of principles that gives balance, stability, and influence." I will quote James Allen again and again. Fellow countrymen and women, friends, power without prudence is a house of cards. Power without prudence is a house of cards. The wise one knows that appearances must be managed, but excess invites ruin. I'm trying to answer the question, why Nigerian society is the way it is. The failure of the Nigerian society is determined by our collective behavior. Your behavior, my behavior, his behavior, her behavior. By the time we put it together, it is what gives us the character of the society. So that the Nigerian society is failing is a clear indication that there is something wrong with our personal characters. So when the dominant character, yes, some persons are good, some persons are bad, but when the bads are more than the good, the society becomes a society dominated by the bad. So that character will exhibit bad traits, corruption, government stealing, violence, banditry. You now have Men and women of low moral standing as leaders. You now have shallow thinkers as leaders. Society now begins to celebrate shallow thinkers. Meritocracy will now go to the dogs. The society becomes chaotic. It is the accumulation of the characters, the dominant character of the people over time. Are you there? The wise one knows that appearances must be managed, but excess invites ruin. Ostentation sometimes breeds resentment. Aisha Shimugu must understand by now. I'm looking. I don't know what you're saying. A society where luxury comes without legitimacy, that country is in a trap. Luxury without legitimacy is a trap. So you have many government officials exposed to luxury, not legitimately earned. And it's a trap for any society. That society is trapped. Its development will be arrested. That is why, no matter the song, men and women who are trapped in illegitimate luxury, no matter what they say, be they president or governor, society will remain dormant and uninspiring. Yes, they can construct one or two roads, but they will lack the capacity to reform society. So when you are thinking of hope, be careful. The person you are thinking of. Wealth without wisdom is a ticking clock. When the music stops, the powerful becomes powerless. Let me remind you of the words of James Allen again. The pleasure seekers, the lovers of excitement, the hunters after novelty, and the victims of impulse and hysterical emotion lack that knowledge of principles which give balance, stability, and influence to society. Nigeria is caught in this circle. We chase excitement, we don't chase excellence. We glorify novelty, but not necessity. We hunt after spectacle, not substance. Look around you. Look around you. In leadership, in governance, in daily life, we celebrate the shallow and neglect the profound. The music is loud, but the minds are empty. The feasts are grand, but the people starve. The buildings rise, but the nation crumbles. Let me bring in Professor Ademola Araoye. Look, I just want you to take note. We chase excitement, not excellence. We glorify novelty, not necessity. We hunt after spectacle, not substance. In leadership, in governance, in daily life, we celebrate the shallow and neglect the profound. The music is loud, but the minds are empty. The feasts are grand, but the people starve. The buildings rise, but the nation crumbles. My guest, Professor Ademola Araoye,
is the author of the book The Ghettos of Pan-Africanism. Prof, on page 120, you said endemic corruption across Africa is consistent with the eternal struggle between the forces of light and harmony and the forces of darkness and anarchy.
This is based on empirical observations one has made. Not just in Nigeria. I've been around for some time, and I've been in places. Wherever in Africa, wherever you go, there is a clear line between the ruinous elite, however small they are, and the vast majority who are struggling. In some instances, you end up with a civil war.
So who are the forces of light in this case?
The forces of light are the millions of the silent millions who want the pursuit of the public good. Sometimes they are intellectually armed, morally armed, to challenge the status quo. Often it may end up in tragedy.
So who are the forces of darkness?
The forces of darkness
and anarchy
are largely the political establishment in Africa.
You state that corruption seems entrenched and overwhelming to the extent that progressivism has always been on the back foot. What is progressivism?
Progressivism is a vision of a better life for the community, for the whole community, in the many diverse domains of human life. Progressivism in education, in sports, in medicine, in economics. But at the end of the day, all these things are distilled towards the common good of that humanity.
Ordinarily, those are the objectives of democracy.
Yes.
The welfare of the people.
Exactly. So if you have a true democratic system, then you are likely to have progressivism at work.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That's Professor Ademola Raoye. In Nigeria, few things inspire as much passion as a grand party. Hey. Weddings are planned with military precision. Burials become festivals. Birthdays shut down streets. The energy, time, and money poured into these events are staggering. But where is this same passion when it comes to education? Where is the rigor when hospitals decay? Why do we not gather with the same excitement to build our schools, invest in technology, or revive agriculture? Let me remind you of the words of James Allen again. The pleasure seekers, the lovers of excitement, the hunters after novelty, and the victims of impulse and historical emotion lack that knowledge of principles which gives balance, stability, and influence to society. A society that lacks good education but is renowned for grand parties, that society needs mental reawakening. A society that remembers to patch the roads just to hold grand barriers, that society needs mental reawakening. A society where barriers are festivals that society needs mental reawakening. A society that allows birthday celebrants to block streets and party, that society needs mental revolution. A society that is lost after excitement, yet cannot discover how to build telephones, aeroplanes, that society must be awakened. Look at the excitement, the energy you put into your parties. You can even go borrow money. You dance and dance. Magbadun. You don't put that energy into coming together to build schools for communities. You don't put that energy into coming together to revamp the healthcare system. There is something wrong with the minds of such people. That society needs mental reawakening. A nation obsessed with celebration, but indifferent to progress, is doomed. Development is not built on loud music and flowing champagne. It is built on discipline, vision, and sacrifice. What are the consequences of these misplaced energies? Hospitals without doctors, but streets filled with party tents. Schools with leaking roofs, but billions spent on flamboyant weddings. A nation that consumes but does not create. A people distracted by noise while their future crumbles in silence. What a land. There must be a shift. A new way of thinking. A new kind of excitement. An excitement rooted in innovation, education, and real progress. The joy of seeing a child graduate must surpass the thrill of a lavish party. The pride of building a thriving industry must be greater than the pleasure of an extravagant burial. Nigeria must wake up. The real party is the advancement of society. Professor Ademola Araoye talks about building a rational society.
Can you have the kind of democracy you are talking about in a climate of poor thinking?
Well, if it's a climate of poor thinking, it's most improbable. Because as I said, whether formally or just before we came in, we seem to lack the capacity for rigorous thinking and for rigorous rationality. All over you look around you, it's irrational, it's illogic. And I just gave you a very small example. In a 36-state structure of Nigeria, just about 5 or 6 are fiscally strong enough to stand on their own. So you ended up with what people call feeding bottle federation. And that same people, the same legislature is in the process of creating 4 new states. How do you justify that? At whose expense? And while they talk of creating 4 new states, at the same time, we are talking of how do we strengthen the constituent units that make the federation. Does it make sense? Irrational.
How do we build that rational society? What do we do?
Well, that rational society is not something that can emerge from the morass that you have here. It will mean the right thinking people, rational men of good intention will have to come together and form a new, if you like, a revolutionary cadre that will challenge the status quo. Because everybody I see within the current status quo has no sense of a future for Africa.
So there is an urgent need for a revolutionary cadre.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A revolutionary imperative, an imperative for revolutionary forces to come together to dislodge the forces of evil that we have currently in charge.
When you talk of these revolutionary forces, are you looking at mental revolution?
It starts with mental revolution because the revolution has to start from the mindset. People have to sit down with the capacity to analyze critically and then elicit from that thinking the radical way forward.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That's Professor Ademola Raoye, the author of The Ghettos of Pan-Africanism. We must return to wisdom. We must return to wisdom. Let me hear your voice. I've said a lot already. Let me hear from you. 070694 930 00 070694 930 00 or 070 144 757 70. That is 070 144 75770. You can also catch me on X. Let me hear from you, your comments on X, on YouTube. Hello, good morning. Hello. Just keep trying.
70.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and where you calling from?
My name is Bamidele. I'm calling from Lagos. Ajah precisely.
All right, Mr. Bamidele.
I just listened to the professor talking about radical revolution. Hello?
You have to turn down the volume of your radio, sir.
Can you hear me clearly now?
I can hear you.
Okay. So I feel that the word revolution is loosely used in our world right now. And to many, it depicts violence, which I think we have to be very careful, with. I like the fact that you spoke about mental revolution, or rather you put it to him, that starting with mental revolution. And I think that's where it starts from. Where in our circle, as small as it is, the circle of influence, where you can begin to engage people around you, letting them know what good governance is all about, how it can be achieved. I feel as many that are at the moment clamoring for change, clamoring for good governance, if they begin to exercise such engagement, then we may have a larger society that is now well informed, ready to engage, and ready to take over power. So I do subscribe to this idea of some activists coming online, coming on media, brains, and all of that, talking about revolution in the manner they talk about it. But I give you an example. Anybody around, just look around you. There is somebody somewhere that you can easily influence, starting from your gateman to your cleaner to your siblings, those you have direct influence on. How much of engagement have you done with those people? Explaining to them what good governance is. It is when they know, when they have an idea of what it is. for them to now exercise their civic responsibility or right, voting becomes easier. For them to now begin to now have a boss that they can begin to pick who qualifies, who does not, becomes easier for them. And this is where a lot of us are failing.
All right.
I just thought that we begin to look at it from that point of view, as against just the gaslighting, as it were. Thank you very much for your time. You are doing a good job, sir.
Thank you for calling the radio station. The lines are open. You can also leave your messages on X. I'm on X at the moment. Let me see. And if you are on X, please repost to invite others to the class. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my brother Edmond. It's Chief online.
I didn't get your name. You're fiddling with your system. Hello, good morning. Okay, go ahead.
Hello?
All right, we'll have to let that caller go. The lines are open. You see, when you call, when your line is picked, you turn down the volume of your radio set. Just turn it down. Don't try to hear yourself. Because when you try to do that, there will be reverberation. And it's not good for radio. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Speaking from Legality.
All right.
I just want to concerning what the professor has just spoken about. You see, our society is the type of society in which I can say our background was too low to accomplish that kind of thing put up by the professor. In a situation whereby we have the mediocres turning things around in a country where we have the intellectuals, what I'm just trying to put across to you is that even if you have those who can lead this country, those who can revolutionize this country, will they allow them to get there? We have the cabals in this country. A situation whereby if you join a political party, they will tell you his father was a member of their group. So no matter how intellectually developed the person may be, they will not allow the person to reach there. We have those who are intellectually developed who can turn this country around and make us to arrive at the promised land. The issue on ground is that they allow them to get there.
All right.
I just want to people about that one. God bless this country.
Thank you. You see, there's no society. I keep hearing, oh, they won't allow him to get there. Oh, they won't allow you to get there. If they have the intellectual rigor, they should find their way to power. Nobody will invite you to come and take power. You fight for it. You struggle for it. Power is a struggle. You go for it. So that intellectual core cannot sit down in their classrooms and be pontificating. They must set up structures to gain power. And that is how they can unleash their intellect on society and reform it. Mental reawakening is a struggle. You must have a plan. You must be able to mobilize. Nobody gives it to you. You get it. The lines are open. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Edmond.
Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Mrs. Williams. I'm calling from English.
All right, Miss Williams, speak up a bit so that we can hear you clearly.
And it's my voice this time.
Okay.
It's not my fault. We were talking about spending lavishly on burial and whatever. And the thing just caught me, and I said, let me just talk. Most of the time, those burial and everything, it's just old men in the village that push people into it. And from Edo State, like yesterday now, news came to me that I lost my 64 years old mother. That was all. a woman of 64, you can know that the children, even the eldest, is less than 50. Now, when we go there now, they will be pushing, bring this, bring that, do this, do that. You borrow and do all those things, not just to make everything okay and do everything. At the end of the day, you just come back. The money is not there. All those old people, before you know what, they give you a list. Later they will say it's an old one. They have not given you the new one. Collect from here, collect from here. After everything, you do party, you be smiling there. And in 2 years, somebody will not balance. What they are doing at home is very bad. Look at yesterday now. Money have to come out. That is 180,000 I sent to my younger one for transport and for mortuary. I didn't keep that one, but I just have to do it to make that woman okay. What they are doing, honestly, God will help us.
Sorry about the passing of your mom. Please take heart.
Okay.
Sorry, okay? Yeah. Yes, I've heard that before. Again and again. Yes, those in the village telling you what to do. Nobody in my village can tell me how to bury my parents. As Edmond Obilo, damn your custom. Damn your custom. You can't put me under such pressure. I have never accepted it in my life. No. So if you accept it, fine. I have sat down, I have discussed with my dad already what his burial will look like. And I've told him, tell everybody that will listen, I won't do this. Can't turn my father's burial to a festival. If you want to do it, fine. I don't have if you enjoy it, but I will not do it. I have a lot to do with that money. I will not call the whole nation to come and eat. Invite the best musicians for burial. I didn't do it for him while he was alive. The whole village will now come together and be sanctioning me. Bring one cow, bring this cow. And society keeps quiet. And after that, I go back and begin to mourn. Not because my father is dead, because I'm now down with debt. And the traditional institutions continue to encourage this lavishness that makes society remains poor. You begin to impose unnecessary custom on widows. You begin to demean them because they lost their husbands. So something is wrong with that society. And if government was good, we must tackle these kind of social structures and demolish them. And where after spending lavishly in that burial, you look at the field where the burial took place. You look at the field, the primary school where the burial took place. All the structures are down. There are no chairs in those classrooms. But he has come from America. He has spent lavishly, and the community is hailing him. And that burial was done in a primary school field. In those classes, there are no chairs. There are no chairs. There are no teachers. What a land. What a land. See everybody dressed in ashwebi. The ashwebis that we cannot manufacture. So we are creating job for the Chinese because all the laces are imported. All the mix-up are imported. The weave-ons are imported. Women cannot showcase their beauty anymore without weave-ons and wigs. They've lost confidence of themselves. They are no longer beautiful if they don't mask their faces with makeups that makes them look like masquerades. They have lost the simple concept of beauty, beauty of the heart. Society has been consumed by excitement. The political class has lost the moral standing. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Stay tuned.
Is live.
To many watchers of political events in Oyo State, it was surprising that Sheyi Makinde went the length in trying to get the ticket of the PDP.
This is not the first time that we're coming out for a political contest. I've done it before, in 2007. I did it in 2011. And as an individual, I'm actually a marathoner. A long distance runner. So whatever we are into, we go the whole depth. And of course, we've been encouraged by a lot of our people. They want to see change in Oyo State. So we've had a lot of encouragement from people, telling us, don't stop, don't waver, don't look back. We are behind you. So those of our people, who are in that category, I want to use this opportunity to say thank you to all of you, and to also let you know that I am greatly encouraged. The entire team, we are encouraged, and we keep on fighting for you.
Do you feel today that you were underrated by other aspirants in the PDP?
I won't say so. What I'll say is they didn't know the level of preparedness, that we had. To them, politics is, a game of deceit. But that's precisely what we're trying to stamp out, from our political terrain.
Do you truly feel you were cheated in the world congresses?
Yes. We believe in the rule of law. We believe in decency. And we felt that organizations, be it political parties, Boy Scouts, whatever kind of organization, should live by their own rules. It's either you have election or you have a selection.
So what happened?
The Electoral Act stipulated what political parties should do. If you want to conduct party primaries, you need to bring out a guideline. The guideline will have to be approved by the electoral umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission. Once that is approved, then it becomes the document, which you will follow to conduct, your primaries. And what we had in the case of PDP was that They brought out the guidelines. Truly, it was approved by the electoral umpire, but in the middle of the game, somebody decided to change the rule.
When you say somebody decided to change the rule, who is this somebody? Is it a party chairman at the national level or at the state level?
Well, for clarity, it's the national officers of the party that are saddled with the responsibility of running the affairs of the party on a day-to-day basis. And don't get me wrong, you have 12 officers in the National Working Committee of the PDP, and then they try to build a consensus around, the issues that they are faced with. And they are fine gentlemen, but a situation where you have certain individuals, within the Working Congress, within the National Working Committee, lording it over the rest of the people. And then they've been doing it.
At the national level or at the state level?
Well, for clarity, it's the national officers of the party that are saddled with the responsibility of running the affairs of the party on a day-to-day basis. And don't get me wrong, you have 12 officers in the National Working Committee of the PDP, and then they try to build a consensus around, the issues that they are faced with. And they are fine gentlemen, but a situation where you have certain individuals, within the Working Congress, within the National Working Committee, lording it over the rest of the people. And then they've been doing it prior to now. And that's precisely what happened. The National Working Committee decided not to follow the guideline, for the conduct of the primaries for PDP.
Join me as I read from this interesting collection of articles about humanity, articles about the state, articles about life, articles about the future.
The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I'm thinking about the weaponization of justice. The weaponization of justice. I'm thinking, what are you thinking about? Are you on X? Have you invited anyone to class? Invite your friends to class by reposting on X. Are you on TikTok? Invite your friends to class by sharing on TikTok. Are you on YouTube? How are you this morning? Are you watching on Splash FM Facebook page? Good to have you there. You are listening on State Affairs app on Google Play Store, iOS. Yes, you can download the app from those stores. You can also listen on LinkedIn. Let's see. I want to see you on X. I'm on X now. Taiwo Ajakai. Thank you for being here. Taiwo says, listening to Edmond this morning, the views of the professor summarized our problems. All talks, no practical application. Taiwo says the academics have all the solution on how politicians should lead Nigeria, but they cannot practice 1% of such in the academic environment to revolutionize the academic environment where they have absolute influence at the moment. You have raised some fundamental point. Taiwo Ajakai, you said the academics have all the solution on how politicians should lead Nigeria, but they cannot practice 1% of such in academic environment to revolutionize the academic environment where they have absolute influence at the moment. Is their influence absolute? I don't think their influence is absolute. The academic society is part of the Nigerian society. The academic society does not exist in isolation. So the character of leadership at the apex, we always filter down to every sphere of society, be it academic, church, or mosque. So Taiwo Ajakai, that is the point of deviation for me. So they don't have absolute influence in the academic society. The university is heavily influenced by institutions of government, Ministry of Education, the presidency. So the character of the Ministry of Education, the character of the president, the character of the Minister of Education, the character of the Senate Committee on Education, the character of the House of Rep Committee on Education affects the character of the university. Are you getting the point I'm making? So sometimes, no matter how good they are, as far as the policy comes down from the apex, the university system will be a replica of society. That's the point I'm making. You can also help me. You can tell me more. But that's what I'm thinking this morning. Taiwo Ajakai, thank you. Thank you. Your post is quite long and it's engaging. I'll take my time to read it after the show. Okay, let me read part of it again. It says the politics among the academics when it comes to anything election or selection is worse than what we see with career politicians. You are emphasizing the point I'm making. The way the election conducted by INEC in larger society, that same character will filter into the academics. It will filter into the church. They will rig election in the church. They will rig it in the mosque because it's the character of society. That is, the church does not make it different. Because the church is constituted by members of the society. That is why when the leadership at the apex is corrupt, you cannot save society. That's why leadership is key. It is that leadership like Lee Kuan Yew who will now begin to now say from that apex will begin to affect every sphere of society, culture, chieftaincy. You know, we're talking about burial. The governor has control over all the chiefs, all the kings in your state. Through the office of the governor, we can influence some of these cultures that are backward. But that is a society that is ready for mental revolution. We don't have a... We are in search of visionary leaders. And when we're talking about vision, the core aspect of vision is thinking. It is that thinking that will now birth good education, good roads. But what you see, we just feel we can build good road. If you are constructing a good road, it must come with vision and idea. If I'm constructing this road from point A to point B, how will this road affect the behavior of the residents on this road? How am I going to use this road to influence the character of the people here? Like if you go to places like Akala Express now, places like Awolowo, noise pollution has destroyed those environments. But government can say, oh, we have lounges that are creating jobs. But if you now do a proper assessment, at the end of the day, society is worse for it. Because we have not been able to organize how to run entertainment and make society orderly. So everybody wakes up and sets up a lounge. Like you go to Akala Express, sometimes from 11 a.m. to about 4 a.m., the lounges are playing loud music. You'll be hearing it in your dreams. It is the clear example of the failure of governance. I hope the governor is listening. The government has failed in that regard. To manage entertainment outfits, they are creating chaotic societies. You have a situation where somebody wakes up in the morning and locate a block factory in a residential area, a block factory with a machine that vibrates, that when you are molding the block, your roofs are vibrating. It's a society without regulation. It's part of the failure of governance. You can't do that abroad. You see, they are organized. Society needs entertainment, no doubt. Society needs nightclub. But it must be done in such a way that there's decorum in society. Without decorum, society becomes chaotic. A chaotic society will breed noisy children, rascally boys. We have to rethink society. I was talking about weaponization of justice. Hello, friends. Look, I need to make this point at this time. It is urgent. Law is not justice in a rascally society. Justice is not morality, they say. And morality is not power. The point I want to make is that a country that confuses legality for legitimacy is a problematic society. A ruler who bends the law to serve power creates chaos. A ruler who bends the law to serve power creates chaos. If you are wondering why something is wrong with the Nigerian society, I'm giving you the reasons. Because we have rulers that bend the law to serve their interest. So there is no equality before the law. Legal justice is not social justice. When the law serves power, it loses meaning. When the law serves power, it becomes a mask for oppression. Rulers now use the law to crush opposition, silence dissent, and justify justice. When legal justice is no social justice, discontent rises. So banditry, terrorism, unknown gunmen in the southeast is discontent. You saw what happened in Edo State? Was it not on Thursday? Where a mob stopped a lorry carrying some northerners. I don't know what the mob saw. And descended on the northerners and caught them kidnappers and burnt them alive. That is an example of the chaos that Tinubu is causing with governance. The chaos. The governor of Edo State is causing with governance. The chaos. The governors of the different states are causing with governance. People have lost faith in the police. They have lost faith in the courts. So jungle justice becomes the order of the day. Even the police is involved in jungle justice. If you annoy the policeman, he shoots you. That's jungle justice. If you annoy the army officer, he slaps you and beats the hell out of you. That's jungle justice. The EFCC man comes to arrest you. He begins to beat up everybody in the compound, arrest them. That is jungle justice. The policeman comes to arrest your son. He doesn't find his son. He arrests the father and the mother. That is jungle justice. The teacher comes to class. One person makes noise. He canes the whole class. That is jungle justice. When there is jungle justice, there will be chaos. You know, chaotic society. By the time you get home from work, you are exhausted. The mother is shouting from the kitchen. The daddy is shouting from the sitting room. Children are shouting at each other. We've lost decorum. When the law serves power, it loses meaning. It becomes a mask for oppression. Rulers use it to crush opposition, silence dissent, and justify influence. They give their actions legal cover. But the people know the truth. When legal justice is not social justice, discontent rises. And that is how revolutions begin. Let's listen to Professor Nii Oshundari.
You released a poem not too long ago entitled My Lord, Tell Me Where to Keep Your Bride. In that poem, you said the last hope of the common man has become the last bastion of the criminally rich. A terrible plague bestrides the land, besieged by rapacious judges and venal lawyers.
I don't know whether there's anything I've written in recent times that has gone so viral, as it were. And it was a poem I found difficult to write. Took me 2 days and 2 nights, really. At a point, I nearly gave up. But something kept on telling me that my mind could not rest until I had written that poem. And I'm happy I did. I was reading all the news about graft in the judiciary. Now, as a Nigerian, I know that no institution in this country is perfect. But somehow the Nigerian judiciary has managed to produce some of the greatest legal luminaries in Africa, whether it's Namani or whether it is Aniogolu or whether it's Aguda, Shaw, and so on and so forth. But in the past couple of years, a lot has been happening that has got people really wondering about the judgments that have been coming from the bench. Then the midnight raid happened, and we read about all the things that were found in the houses of high court judges, justices of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, $319,000, thousand euros, thousands and thousands of euros, and I'm wondering, for goodness sake. And husband and wife. Husband is in Abuja, wife is in Lagos, highly placed, doing money laundering for the husband. It hit me hard. Why? Of the 3 arms of government that we have, that is the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. The judiciary, it may surprise you, is the most powerful, and the most fundamental, and the most important. And the survival of this country depends on it. Not even on the army, but on the judiciary. Because the judiciary conceptualizes, practices, and disseminates justice. A judge could rule that the Nigerian president should be hanged, and he will be put in handcuffs and hanged. On the other hand, the president cannot do that. So there is so much power in the hands of these people. And I said, to whom so much is given, so much is expected. We, as laymen and women, have been watching the judgments that have been given, but particularly the election petition tribunals. I mean, we were at a place where no election took place, where there was a lot of rigging and so on. And then lawyers will come and argue back and forth before you knew what was happening. They will say, oh yes, we uphold the election of so. What that does is it demoralizes people in a country.
Unhappy the land where jobbers are judges.
Thank you. Unhappy the land where jobbers are judges, and unhappy the land where judges are also jobbers. That is really it.
Where impunity walks the streets like a large invisible demon.
Yeah, that's right. It is impunity. You get into a tiff with a highly placed person in Nigeria today. He has wronged you, and you want to sue. He will say, oh, yeah, go to court. No, I'm not doing it. You just go to court. He's so confident he's going to win because they go to court in Nigeria today to buy judgment.
Has the political class submerged justice?
Of course. It is the political class and the judiciary are hand in hand.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That's the renowned professor, a Nigerian great, African great, a global great, Professor Nii Oshundare, the poet. It's about society. It's about building a land in the interest of the common good. It's about the philosophy of African liberation. It's about changing how we think. It's about dreaming big. It's about changing the land. Yes, we can. A ruler may believe he has control. He may use the courts, the police, and the military. He may suppress protest. He may silence critics. But one thing I know is that power built on injustice is fragile. Power built on injustice is fragile. It breeds anger. It creates enemies. It makes the people lose faith in the system. When people no longer believe in the law, they turn to other means. Some will resist, some will rebel, some will seek vengeance. I want you to take note of this point. Power built on injustice is fragile. It breeds anger. It creates enemies. It makes the people lose faith in the system. When people no longer believe in the law, they turn to other means. Some will resist, some will rebel, some will seek vengeance. The state will respond with more force, but force does not create stability. It deepens the crisis. Let me bring in the author of this book, Philosophy of African Liberation, Dismantling the Tripod Stand of Bondage in Africa. The author of that book is Chukwuwike Inekwechi. He has something to say in this discourse.
If the government officials are being sworn in on the constitution of colonialism, the constitution we have now is just a product of the colonial system, which is just edited and edited and edited until today. But the foundation remains the same. The triple stand of bondage is still at the root of the constitution.
So this constitution must go.
It's not that it must go. No, it cannot go. There are some beautiful, great elements and provisions inside the constitution. There are beautiful elements there, but the foundation has to be changed so that the beautiful elements can manifest, can be applied. Okay, there is something I used to tell people when people talk about rule of law. I say you cannot have rule of law when you don't have laws. In Nigeria, although the constitution and its many provisions have some good elements in them, but it is not law yet. Let me make a distinction. Law is opposed to rule. Law is developed from the consent of the people upon whom it is enforced. But rule is imposed irrespective of the consent or interest or well-being of the people upon whom it is imposed. When a rule is imposed, there could be some beautiful things found in it. That doesn't make it law. It has not yet been consented by the people. So the rulers can decide to cherry pick which provisions to apply on the people. But when it comes from the people, when you try to cherry pick, you see a revolution in the system because it is what came from their consent. And everybody, for instance, in America, if a general will command some of his soldiers to go and arrest the president those soldiers will arrest him first, the general, for giving such command, because the law came from the consent of the people. In fact, the people are the first enforcers of the law. That is why in Nigeria and in some other African countries, because it is not law that came from the people, it is not people's law, it is imposed rule of the government, despite the beautiful elements in them. In Nigeria, when court gives a verdict, government can choose to ignore it and nothing will happen. Yes, government can choose to ignore it and nothing will happen, because it did not come from the consent of the people. The people are not the primary enforcers. The people are just there as beneficiaries. Whatever comes to us, we will take whenever, however. That is it.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Yes, that was the voice of Chukwuemeka Enekwechi, the author of the book Philosophy of African Liberation, Dismantling the Tripod Stand of Bondage in Africa. That interview will be uploaded on my YouTube channel tomorrow. I advise you to listen to that interview. That young man has got a lot to say. Chukwuemeka Enekwechi, the full interview will be on my YouTube channel. So subscribe to my channel. Search for @eobilo on YouTube or just Edmond Obilo on YouTube to listen to that interview. It will be uploaded tomorrow. A ruler may believe he has control. He may use the courts, the police, and the military. He may suppress protest. He may silence critics. But power built on injustice is fragile. It breeds anger. It creates enemies. It makes the people lose faith in the system. When people no longer believe in the law, they turn to other means. Some will resist. Some will rebel. Some will seek vengeance. The state will respond with more force. But force does not create stability. It deepens the crisis. A country that weaponizes the judiciary destroys itself. A country that weaponizes the judiciary destroys itself. It creates a system where might is right. It teaches the people that power, not law, decides justice. This is dangerous. Are you there? Who will say, I did not speak when I saw the wind? If the courts serve the ruler, why should the people respect them? If the law is a lie, why should anyone obey it? When citizens lose faith in institutions, what follows is chaos. And we must not get to that point in Nigeria. We should endeavor to build a system where the people love the law. We should build a system where the people obey the law. Law breaking is becoming a tradition in Nigeria. If you want to see example, just go near a traffic light during the day. Just go near a traffic light and see what goes on. Chaos. Red lights, everybody's moving. Even if you are the good one and you stay there for some time, and you see everybody just moving, you're even honking their horn, my friend, get out of the road. And you are just there. Sometimes you look stupid. You just look stupid. But you just need that kind of endurance and calmness to remain there. And the micro driver will now come out and say, look at you, weary. You see red light, you are not moving. You are now the weary that has stopped for the red light. Sometimes you see the traffic officer, they will jump into the micro, they will jump out again later. I don't know why they jump out. They jump in and jump out. I don't know what has happened inside the car. Because the speed at which they jump in and the speed with jump out, you begin to say, what's going on here? That is the breakdown of society. You see? And sometimes the green light on the other side is working, and the green light on the other side is not working. So you don't even know when to move, because your light is not working, but the other light is working. And the next moment you create chaos. And sometimes you'll be there for 2-3 weeks. And you then begin to ask, where is government? Chaos. But we must build a society of law and justice. No justice, no peace. No peace, no justice. If the courts serve the ruler, it is dangerous. And this is the fate of states that betray justice. They become hollow. They become unstable. They become their own worst enemy. Tomorrow you hear Boko Haram has attacked a military base and soldiers have been killed. You hear unknown gunmen have invaded police stations and policemen have been killed. You hear that EFCC officers have run amok in a hotel and some persons have been shot. That the policeman has gotten angry, he has shot the driver. Sometimes, the most chaotic scene you see is when the police officers and the soldiers are fighting on the street. Tomorrow, it is road safety versus customs. They are throwing punches. Then in the Senate, you see them. Beautiful women, handsome men. No, it's not about sexual harassment. It's about the character of the state. All right. Stay tuned and stay cool. The radio man is here.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Splash FM 105.5.
From this interesting collection of articles about humanity, articles about the state, articles about life, articles about the future, written by a great mind, a mind beyond journalism, a philosopher. In writing, he digs deep and he hits hard. In writing, he says the future and hits the mark. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. Let's read together. Look at this book. It's his book. It's a big book. In the Belly of Vultures. The author of the book writes, he says, this book, Nigeria, A Nation in the Belly of Vultures, has many titles. It was originally conceived as Nigeria, a nation of idiots. Is understandably so. It was the fiery pastor, the incorruptible ultra-nationalist, Barrister Tunde Bakari, who once lamented that it takes only fools to be ruled by idiots, or idiots to be ruled by fools. I'm reading from the prologue of the book. So the author says in one of the articles in this collection, I opined that all Nigerians must have been compound idiots for them to allow, tolerate, and grudgingly accept the barefaced robbery which the ruling elite had inflicted on the country's patrimony. The author continues, no collection of human beings anywhere in history and in the world had allowed the reckless brigandage that had consumed the Nigerian nation for the past 55 years without raising a finger in protest. The author of this book, I will call it the biggest book in our collection. The author of this book is Chief Tola Adeni, a renowned journalist, former chairman of the Daily Times, chairman and editor-in-chief of the Daily Times. The Daily Times at the time was the biggest newspaper in Africa. Nigeria's first ombudsman. Chief Tola Adeni, it's good to have you on State Affairs.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm always delighted to be with you and to rub minds with you.
And thank you for coming. A nation of idiots.
Yes.
You really meant it?
I meant it. I mean, that was the title I chose for it. Except it was my friend, late Professor George Obiozo, who said, no, that's too hard, it's too harsh. Why not tune it down, choose a different title. You know that Nigeria is in the belly of vultures, but to say that the vultures, the people in the belly of vultures are also idiots is too much for them. They've already been eaten up by the vultures. Why do you want to add more to the agony by calling them idiots? So just let them remain in the belly of the vultures and don't add any insult to their injury. Don't call them idiots. So that's why the title was, even when it was going to the press, it was a nation of idiots. It was Obiozo who changed the title.
And you agreed with his argument?
Yes, I did. Because it was not the Nigerians that really offended me. Well, nobody offended me, but I was really frustrated by the seeming helplessness of Nigerians that have been able to tolerate all the nonsense they've been going through over the years. And it still aches me now that
the vultures have become more powerful.
More powerful. I mean, the vultures have made the mincemeat of them, just tearing them apart into pieces and chopping their heads off.
Who are the vultures?
The vultures are the political class. The political class, whether in uniform or in Agbada or in Babariga or in whatever dress they wore. It's the political class. They're anti-people, wicked, unfeeling, selfish, greedy.
NSAS was a resistance
NSAS,
of the elite.
yes, it wasn't of the elite, it was the young people. It was the resistance by the young people.
And I'm saying resisting the political elite.
Yes, they were. It was well organized.
So they are not idiots.
No, the youth of this country are not idiots.
And you made a point in this book, your literary autobiography.
Yes.
That is young people that have the power to change the country.
They are. I still believe they are the people who could change the country. I mean, when Zegu made an attempt, he was under 30 years of age. You know, if you know, all of them, they were under 30 years of age. It's the young people who have the muscle to change any society. Jesus was under 30. Except Prophet Muhammad, who was in his late 50s, was in his 50s when he started his own religious revolution. All the other leaders I know were under 40 years of age.
In the belly of vultures.
Yes.
Are we still in the belly of vultures?
Much more so.
Can we come out of the belly of vultures?
I don't know. I'm not optimistic at all. I'm just scared and saddened by what I see, what I hear, what I notice, and what people say. You know, we are so much we are so much gone that I wonder if we could really get out of the belly. You know, and if we do get out, if the youth can do something, those of us who are advanced in age, we're already gone. I mean, what am I going to benefit if the country changes? I mean, over 80 years of age. And people in my generation and those who are very close to my generation have lost. They've lost the war, they've lost the battle. So they should just, count their days and wait for the time they're going to end up in the grave.
At what point did the rain begin to beat us?
I would say from the time strange bedfellows were put together, when that man, history says is a eunuch, brought Nigerian people from the north and people from the south together.
You're talking about Lord Lugard?
Yeah, they say it's a eunuch. Yeah, Lord Lugard. I don't call him Lord Lugard. I just call him a criminal fellow.
Why criminal?
Well, what did he do in India? What did he do in the Sudan? It's just a career criminal. It was more or less a dignified pirate. You know.
He amalgamated the north and the south and protectorate.
Yes.
And
that was the beginning. And in fairness to him, he said for 100 years. I mean, the British at that time, 100 years. If it was for 100 years, that should have lapsed in 2014. But here we are, 2025. Because the greedy politicians will not do what they needed to do.
What should they do?
They should have. The amalgamation was off by 2014, according to the books.
So, but we decided to keep it.
Yeah.
We have a right to keep it.
The question is not right. It's not whether we have a right or not right. And why should you keep something that was not legally binding? Why should you keep something that was not democratically processed?
Chief Adeni, don't forget we have gone through different constitutional processes to refine that amalgamation. So we have the 1999 Constitution that keeps the country together.
Lord of mercy. Who are the people in the Constitution? Who are the people doing the Constitution? Is it not the same people in the belly of the vultures? Who are the people doing the Constitution?
So you think Nigeria, as presently constituted, will not work?
I've said that a million times. It will never work. We just keep on postponing the evil days. I mean, we've seen that it's not working. It can never work.
Is it not working?
Of course, it's not working. I mean, look at the people. Look at graduates selling plantain chips all over the place. Look at people, graduates carrying children on their back and holding children on their hand, still roaming, going about on Ikire Road and all that and all that. See poverty-stricken people in Port Harcourt. See them in Nubi. See them in in Nasarawa, see them in Zamfara.
But you still find them in poor countries like Niger, Chad. These are countries that you can say are monocultural.
But they're not working. No. No, it's not. The fact that it's so is not because they are. It's not because Nigeria is not working. It's not because it's not monocultural. It's more than that. We're just unfortunate that when the colonial masters left, the people who took over. Excuse those who ran for just 5 years. Those who followed them after 5 years, they continue to mess up the country, and they behaved worse than the British colonial masters.
Why are you exempting the first 5 years?
I think because at that time it was a confederation. The West was the Igbos were running their country, the Yoruba were running their country, the Hausa under minorities. And what people say, is we are so much we are so much gone that I wonder if we could really get out of the belly, And if we do get out, if the youth can do something, those of us who are advanced in age, we're already gone. I mean, what am I going to benefit if the country changes? Over 80 years of age. And people in my generation and those who are very close to my generation have lost. They've lost the war, they've lost the battle. So they should just count their days and wait for the time they're going to end up in the grave.
At what point did the rain begin to beat us?
I would say from the time strange bedfellows were put together. When that man, history says is a eunuch, brought Nigerian people from the north and people from the south together.
You're talking about Lord Lugard?
Yeah, they say it's a eunuch. Yeah, Lord Lugard. I don't call him Lord Lugard. I just call him a criminal fellow.
Why criminal?
Well, what did he do in India? What did he do in the Sudan? It's just a career criminal. It was more or less a dignified pirate.
He amalgamated the North and the South
Yes.
Protectorate.
Yes.
And
that was the beginning. And in fairness to him, he said for 100 years. The British at that time.
In the global village of conflicting ideologies and complexities, understanding systems and schemes through awareness and social reconstruction becomes expedient.
They never told you how you offended them?
I'm not on trial, so I can't go before
Join the radio man, Edmondo Bilo, on state affairs for local and international politics, security, extensive economic analysis, interviews, and world power play.
Nigerians must choose the path they want to follow. Follow the same looters and sponsors of violence who control the political structures or encourage the formation of a new leadership team.
Be a global citizen and join the radio revolution on State Affairs. State Affairs with Edmond Obilo. Radio just got deeper.
Dr. Kazim Olani, it's good to have you on State Affairs.
Thank you, Edmond.
Dr. Olaniyan is of the Department of Jurisprudence and International Law, Faculty of Law, University of Ibadan. President Tinubu has acted, declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State.
That's true.
An elected president suspending an elected governor. What do you think?
At the House of Assembly?
Yes.
Well, I think President Tinubu has acted in error. He has acted in error not because he doesn't know, but deliberately in error. I made bold to say that he doesn't have the power to do what he has done. The question you asked me can be viewed from two perspectives. One is the power of the president to declare an emergency, and two, the power of an elected president to suspend or remove another elected governor or officials of the state. Well, let me emphasize the fact that he doesn't have the power to declare that emergency in terms of suspending the elected governor and House of Assembly. Section 305, which was heavily relied upon by the president, gave him ample opportunity to use what you call emergency powers of the president. We'll call it executive powers and emergency powers of the president. All president has it all over the world, including the governors, decision-making point of the political, democratic space. But in this case, the section 305 that gave the ample opportunity for the president to declare or proclaim a state of emergency in a state or any place thereof within the enclave of the country, a state of emergency when that state or any place thereof is a state of war or in any obvious, serious breakdown of law and order.
Let's look at the Constitution.
Yes.
You have mentioned Section 305.
Yes.
Subject to the provisions of this Constitution, the President may, by instrument published in the official gazette of the Government of the Federation, issue a proclamation of a state of emergency in the Federation or any part thereof. There is subsection 2.
Yes. 305 subsection 2.
The President shall immediately after the publication transmit copies of the official gazette of the Government of the Federation containing the proclamation, including the details of the emergency, to the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, each of whom shall forthwith convene or arrange for a meeting of the House, of which he is President or Speaker, as the case may be, to consider the situation and decide whether or not to pass a resolution approving the proclamation. So the President has not erred in Section 305 subsection 1 and subsection 2, right?
Yes.
So if you look at subsection 3,
yes,
the President shall have power to issue a proclamation of a state of emergency only when the Federation is at war. That is A. B. The Federation is in imminent danger of invasion or involvement in a state of war. Does this apply to rivers?
No.
C. There is actual breakdown of public order and public safety in the Federation or any part thereof to such extent as to require extraordinary measures to restore peace and security.
Beautiful. That has not happened in rivers.
It hasn't happened.
Go to number 3.
D. There is a clear and present danger of an actual breakdown of public order and public safety in the Federation or any part thereof requiring extraordinary measures
again
to avert such danger.
Extraordinary again.
Does that apply to rivers?
It does not.
E. There is an occurrence or imminent danger or the occurrence of any disaster or natural calamity affecting the community or a section of the community in the Federation. Does that apply to rivers?
It does not.
Then let's look at F.
Yes, F.
There is any public danger which clearly constitutes a threat to the existence of the Federation. Or G. The President receives a request to do so in accordance with the provisions of subsection 4 of this section.
Yes, that's subsection 4. Let's go there.
Subsection 4.
Yes, that's a proviso.
The governor of a state may, with the sanction of a resolution supported by two-thirds majority of the House of Assembly, request the President to issue a proclamation of a state of emergency in the state, when there is in existence within the state any of the situations specified in subsection 3C, D, and E of this section,
Beautiful.
and such situation does not extend beyond the boundaries of the state.
Beautiful. Now, look at the contemplation of the Constitution there. It states the criteria, the parameter, the conditions upon which the powers of the president declared under section 305A and B, 305(1) and 2. Now go to 3. It states all the parameters. These parameters must exist. At least one of them must exist before the president may. Don't forget, the first paragraph of the Constitution is that the president of the country may declare or proclaim. Now, we now go to section 4, 3054, where it said that in another situation, the governor of that state, when he feels so strongly that, I am now powerless, the public safety is at risk, the public security cannot be secured again, he can, subject to 2/3 majority of the House of Assembly, request the president. So when that one does not happen, the president now suspended that person again, that governor and the House of Assembly, who's supposed to declare that we are powerless. Please, Mr. President, come to our aid.
So in your estimation, the president has erred against the Constitution?
Seriously.
But are you sure?
Seriously.
That subsection 3D
yes
does not give the president the opportunity to declare it?
Let's hear it again.
He said there is a clear and present danger.
Clear and present danger.
Of an actual breakdown of public order and public safety. Were we not getting to that in Rivers State?
No, go ahead.
In the Federation?
Yes.
Or any part thereof requiring extraordinary measures.
It is that extraordinary. It is that extraordinary. Don't forget, that is not the first place the Constitution is making mention of extraordinary. But in that section 305.
Dr. Lanio.
Yes, sir.
Before the president declared a state of emergency,
yes,
there were bombing of gas pipelines.
How many? Only one.
And there was tension getting to a breakdown of law and order.
Is that the first time? He said demolition of the House of Assembly was done 14 months ago. 14 months ago. When there was no threat of bombing or anything. Since then, till now. Only 2 days. Just a twinkle of few hours after that bombing, the declaration was made.
You know,
now, don't forget, sir. Don't forget that the president in his speech himself said that when he noticed the breakdown of law and order, in order to preempt it, he instructed the Inspector General of Police to take stand in Rivers State to prevent public safety and public security and the destruction of life and property. How many months ago? Do you have any breakdown of law and order again after the president instructed? That was during the election of the local government.
Don't forget.
And that again,
Ijaw young persons,
yes,
Ijaw youth,
yes,
we're already calling for war.
Yes, they are already calling for war. They have been calling for war in the north for several times. That we don't want this. Please remove this, or else we go to. There's so many call for wars in the past, but you will now note that even before the Boko Haram, as lawless as they are, as notorious as they are, the police were handling them until such a time when they now say, it was clear to Prophet Jonathan, that it is now to call in the soldiers. He has not reached that end in Rivers. To the extent that the police are still in charge. Police are still on top of the situation in Rivers. I made bold to say, some of us travel to Port Harcourt. NBA conference of this year is stated for Port Harcourt. It was the last year when we were there. We are now going there for a conference of the National Bar Association throughout Nigeria. Over 15 to 20,000 lawyers. A state that is in war, we will not even consider it.
You made a point at the beginning of this interview.
Yes.
That perhaps the president deliberately went against the Constitution.
I said it.
Why did you say it?
Deliberately, because he is aware of these provisions. That's one. Two, he asked Attorney General and Minister for Justice to advise him. I'm sure he must have done his duty in advising him.
But the Attorney General has come out to defend the president.
I don't have my proof that he did advise the president. But even if there are some provisions of the Constitution that's not clear to the president, he has arrays of lawyers, legal minds, even in his cabinet. The chief of staff is a lawyer. But Abi Amila is a lawyer. He has them to advise. Whether they did or not is the question. And that's exactly why I said deliberately. Because if he did, and he said, no, I'm going ahead, they don't have any choice except to defend that program or project or that lawlessness. After all, they are being paid to do that. Quote and unquote.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
Yeah, discussing there with Dr. Kazim Olanio of the Department of Jurisprudence and International Law, Faculty of Law, University of Ibadan. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
Splash FM 105.5.
Of articles about humanity, articles about the state, articles about life, articles about the future, written by a great mind, a mind beyond journalism, a philosopher. In writing, he digs deep and he hits hard. In writing, he says the future and hits the mark. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. Let's read together. Look at this book. It's his book. It's a big book. In the Belly of Vultures. The author of the book writes, he says, this book, Nigeria, A Nation in the Belly of Vultures, has many titles. It was originally conceived as Nigeria, a nation of idiots. Is understandably so. It was the fiery pastor, the incorruptible ultra-nationalist, Barrister Tunde Bakari, who once lamented that it takes only fools to be ruled by idiots, or idiots to be ruled by fools. I'm reading from the prologue of the book. So the author says in one of the articles in this collection, I opined that all Nigerians must have been compound idiots for them to allow, tolerate, and grudgingly accept the barefaced robbery which the ruling elite had inflicted on the country's patrimony. The author continues, no collection of human beings anywhere in history and in the world had allowed the reckless brigandage that had consumed the Nigerian nation for the past 55 years without raising a finger in protest. The author of this book, I will call it the biggest book in our collection. The author of this book is Chief Tola Adeni, a renowned journalist, former chairman of the Daily Times, chairman and editor-in-chief of the Daily Times. The Daily Times at the time was the biggest newspaper in Africa. Nigeria's first ombudsman. Chief Tola Adeni, It's good to have you on State Affairs.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm always delighted to be with you and to rub minds with you.
Thank you for coming. A nation of idiots.
Yes.
You really meant it?
I meant it. I mean, that was the title I chose for it. Except it was my friend, late Professor Giorgio Biozo, who said, no, that's too hard, it's too harsh. Why not tune it down, choose a different title. You know that Nigeria is in the belly of vultures, but to say that the vultures, the people in the belly of vultures are also idiots is too much for them. They've already been eaten up by the vultures. Why do you want to add more to the agony by calling them idiots? So just let them remain in the belly of the vultures and don't add any insult to their injury. Don't call them idiots. So that's why the title was, even when it was going to the press, it was a nation of idiots. It was Obiozo who changed the title.
And you agreed with his argument?
Yes, I did. Because it was not the Nigerians that really offended me. Well, nobody offended me, but I was really frustrated by the seeming helplessness of Nigerians that have been able to tolerate all the nonsense they've been going through over the years. And it still aches me now that
the vultures have become more powerful.
More powerful. I mean, the vultures have made the mincemeat of them, just tearing them apart into pieces and chopping their heads off.
Who are the vultures?
The vultures are the political class. The political class, whether in uniform or in Agbada or in Babariga or in whatever dress they wore. It's the political class. They're anti-people, wicked, unfeeling, selfish, greedy.
NSAS was a resistance
NSAS,
of the elite.
Yes, it wasn't of the elite, it was the young people. It was the resistance by the young people.
And I'm saying resisting the political elite.
Yes, they were. It was well organized.
So they are not idiots.
No, the youth of this country are not idiots.
And you made a point in this book, your literary autobiography.
Yes.
That is young people that have the power to change the country.
They are. I still believe they are the people who could change the country. I mean, when Zegu made an attempt, he was under 30 years of age. You know, all of them, they were under 30 years of age. It's the young people who have the muscle to change any society. Jesus was under 30. Except Prophet Muhammad, who was in his late 50s, was in his 50s when he started his own religious revolution. All the other leaders I know were under 40 years of age.
In the belly of vultures?
Yes.
Are we still in the belly of vultures?
Much more so.
Can we come out of the belly of vultures?
I don't know. I'm not optimistic at all. I'm just scared and saddened by what I see, what I hear, what I notice, and what people say. You know, it's we are so much inside. We are so much gone that I wonder if we could really get out of the belly. You know, and if we do get out, if the youth can do something.
Yeah. Let me hear from you. Let me hear from you. I've said a lot. You've heard a lot from me. So let me hear from you. 070 694 930 00 and 070 144 757 70. That is 070 694 930 00 or 070 144 75770. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sado Modagbe.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good morning.
Yeah.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Hello. That's not Sado now. Sounded like Sado Modagbe. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, I'm very happy to reach you today. I've been trying. I've always been in your class, and I do enjoy your program very well.
Thank you.
Hello, so I always stay in the class. It has been an academic, and we enjoy it from far, and people enjoy it from far and near. I'm Ola, a teacher here in Ibadan. Yes, an English teacher. Yes.
Good, Mr. Ola.
Hello, sir.
I can hear you.
Yes, I want to actually discuss with what Mr. President did. Hello, sir.
Go on, make your point.
Yes. What he did is good and tolerable. It doesn't need, when they are talking in terms of breakdowns, it cannot happen before it takes the action. So there are a lot of problems within the Niger Delta area. Even there are underlying things there. So, but some people have been, people have been crying. People have been, discuss this from time to time. So he had to take the urgent action, and it is well applauded. Hello, sir. Hello.
I can hear you.
It is well applauded. So people like the urgent action. So Mr. Lawyer, according to him, saying you have to do this until this happens. So if it happens, can the lawyer live in this country? Can he wait until is it this? I don't think it shouldn't be. So let's put politics aside. As the president, he has done the right thing. So I support him wholeheartedly, mindedly. So God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Olaola. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you are calling from?
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Flash FM.
Yes, go ahead and make your point. The program is State Affairs.
Okay, good day. I'm listening. We're online. My name is Paula. I'm calling from Lagos. I was listening to your program via Twitter live, and I have to say I need to thank you personally for your contribution to nation development at first. My take is on the unconstitutional removal of the governor of Rivers State. The president, being someone who has always championed democracy, has gone ahead to bring the military boys back from the barrack. Not only that, he has given them power over the resources, or let me call it the oil-rich delta. There's a likelihood that we always go back there for that same this thing. And the non-belief that Nigerians have right now, we don't trust the law enforcement, we don't trust the judiciary, You know, we see ministers fraternizing with judiciary and getting favorable Supreme Court judges, allegedly. But these are also points that are leading us to the brink of where, you know, people will react irrationally. And I say this because God bless the soul of those who were lost in Edo State recently, that was online, you know, but nobody has spoken up. Buhari said nobody should be caught with ammunition. Police inspector, retrieve all the ammunitions. What has happened in the southern part of Nigeria? People have come headers who have killed kings. They killed a king in Ondo State, there is no result. On that same road, people are getting kidnapped. In communities, people can't go to farms. Okay, now there is people, there's reaction. Are they telling us that the life of Northerners who are illegally transporting weapons are more important than the southern kings that are killed, farmers who are killed in the farms? They have caused southern Nigeria not to have food sufficiency anymore. When we were growing up, you had a little house, a large compound with your farm behind. These days it's no longer happening. You know, so these are the things we are asking questions. Was it wrong for us to vote a Muslim ticket? Are we being invaded by Fulani fundamentalists? Is Nigeria at the brink of war?
All right.
Because as it is today, the life of an average Northerner who is a herder is more important than people who are traveling and being kidnapped and paying ransoms.
Thank you.
This is the state of Nigeria today. It is sad. It is calling for chaos. And I pray that where Tinubu is leading us does not come to a situation where people revolt. And like Thomas Jefferson said it, where the blood of the tyrants and the patriots are used to cleanse the tree.
Thank you. Thank you for calling the radio station. All Nigerians, be they Fulani, Yoruba, Igbo, anywhere you are from, your life is important. It's our responsibility to protect ourselves, to build a country in the interest of all. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes. The topic is very, very important and volatile to a certain extent. You see, there are certain things that the law cannot foresee. And that's why it's kept on evolving day in, day out. We wouldn't know the reason for the declaration of that state of emergency, you see, until we go deeper. There are certain things which is not known to us. And so when we are now trying to look at it at face value, we may not get to the deeper thing about it. Then the doctor said the blowing up of just a pipe, it has not gotten to so many. Must we wait till it engulfs lives? Must we wait till it is many pipes that will be burned? Will be blown up? No. You see, the issue of River State needs an holistic analysis. Yes, the law are made for us. We are not made for the law. We look at the law. What does this one say? There are certain things the law did not foresee. And that situation, somebody must come in. And that when we're now talking about the doctrine of necessity. Now, when the house was pulled down, the analysis were not there. All along, it is only the executive and judiciary that were ruling in River State. Okay, out of how many members of legislature that were elected, 7 or 4 are ruling. See, the problem is not just when the president declares state of emergency, it has been. So all what we need, painstakingly look at the peculiar nature of River State, how it could be solved. And meanwhile, it was just a suspension. That doesn't mean Obama is not coming back. That's 6 months.
Thank
Let
you.
them utilize it. Look at what could be done, and the governance continue as it is. But when you are now laying blame on the president does this, does that, the judiciary and the judiciary that, the peculiar nature of each state must be studied and find solution, a lasting solution.
Thank
Just
you.
a suspension, like I said.
Thank you.
It's not that it's not coming back. No, the place has not been taken away from him. But within this
All
period,
right.
let them look
You
at
have made that point again and again. Thank you. Has made that point 3 times. And I appreciate that call. You know, he made this point. He gave a very solid argument. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Olasupo JK, calling from Akubo this morning.
Olasupo JK.
Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning. Concerning your topic this morning, you are talking about purchasing justice, which I will call it a kind of how to describe it now is not the best description, because justice can never be purchased. Justice, when you purchase a justice, you are purchasing judgment, not justice, because with your purchase judgment, that doesn't mean that we have a justice. So when you say purchasing justice, is purchasing judgment.
I can't remember. Hello, Mr. JK. I can't remember using the word purchasing justice. I never used that word this morning.
Okay.
I never used it because I use script. Right. It's not in my script, so I don't. You didn't hear that from me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That is very good then. Concerning the issue of rivers, I think they have exported national politics into river states. What do I mean? Okay. When a case was before the Supreme Court concerning rivers, you have to adjudicate on issues in your front that is brought to you. There is this slang that the court is not a Father Christmas, that what you don't ask for, you are not given. Okay, the issue of membership of political parties by this House of Assembly in River has never been brought to the Supreme Court for adjudication. But the Supreme Court now leaped forward to pick it without this thing without being before you. Why are you doing that? Okay, you are now giving a judgment that those people, they are not member of other parties, but still PDP. When those people went to open forum and invited journalists, they have voted to another party. And so when you are purchasing judgment, you have Ulabalu, we have anything can happen. And when you consider all these things, you see that you have a very bigger hand tormenting all these people. I don't believe in the activities of Wike. Lording it over is protege. I will call Kubala is protege, but Wike himself has been a protege of somebody, and we know how he handled him. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. J.K. Olashipo. I have Bayo Olatito here on X. He says, saving Nigeria requires modern policies and reforms. It demands a deep-seated mental reawakening. Individually and collectively, the country will struggle to achieve true progress. The call to action is clear. Change begins with each citizen. That's Olauti Adebayo Job. Thank you for joining the discourse. Let me see. There are more messages here that I can go through. I can see John Onyisi here says, how can there be mental reawakening when the engine, the political elite, that should reawaken the mentality of the people is neither in existence nor active? I keep getting this all the time. If the elites, you change them. That's the point. Why do we always want to point finger? This political elite will not change it for you. You change them. Abeza Charles Obina says, what distinguishes the human person from other creatures is their intellect. By implication, every individual is naturally expected to be just to him, herself, by ensuring that the intellect rules the sensual faculties. This justice breeds harmony and purposeful life. Olani says we all need mental reawakening, and it must come from real determination, ready to learn. Olani is some legend, Baba, is in class. Thank you for always being there, some legend, Baba. Femi Emmanuel says, God bless you, sir, for your response to the caller who asked whether intellectuals would be allowed into power. Many so-called intellectuals are often unwilling and lack genuine interest in building from the scratch. Too often, they are merely opportunists. See, let me also make a point. Every society have their intellectuals, and I don't expect the professors to want to come and compete for power, really. Yes, some of them might want power, but every society must have those thinking for them. They don't necessarily need to be in the Senate. So let's get that point clear. When we say intellectuals, they are doing their work, they are doing their research, they are putting it out there for society. It's for some of us to go pick up those research and run with those ideas to recreate society. So every intellectual must not struggle for power. No. Some must sit back, do research, think for society, find solution. Then we go take that research and run with it to change society. So let's get that point clear. Professors are meant to think for society, to solve society's problems. Some of them may want to get power, but majority of them should not even go for power. It would distract from that quietness and solitude required for deep thinking and research. That is what I think. You can tell me what you think. But let's go for this recess. Let me catch some good water so that I will stay cool and you will stay cool while you stay tuned.
So why did Bola Ige appoint Busari Adelakun into that cabinet? Because you kept saying the most feared Ibadan politician. You repeated it in the course of your storytelling.
Yes.
And Bola Ige brought in that politician into his cabinet.
Before we got to cabinet, I didn't know Busari Adelakun. But Bola Ige and Busari Adelakun must have been friends. He was Busari Adelakun's lawyer at some points. So they must have known each other well before I knew them. And I knew Chief Awolowo was not in favor of Adelakun becoming a commissioner. And I knew of a fact that Awolowo advised Bola Ige to make Adelakun something like chairman, pilgrim board, or something like that, carrying people to Mecca. But Bola Ige felt, yes, he could be able to be in cabinet. I can't question his judgment. He has made him, a member of cabinet. But he became the most undoing of Bola Ige in cabinet.
How? How did he become the undoing, the most undoing?
He's rigid. He's not educated. And he wants to be, whatever anybody could be, no matter what your education.
He was that ambitious?
He must be ambitious.
And was desperate?
He was desperate. He was everything put together. I told you he wanted to be deputy to anybody.
To even Afolabi?
To Afolabi, to Mishade, to Bola Ige, to everybody. Anybody that can say, you will be my running mate, he was ready to support.
At what point did the government begin to unravel?
Bola must have known before me, but what I did know was that there was going to be creation of local governments. And there have been lots of arguments about where should be local government. And we say, okay, look, a principle must be adopted. A local government must not split a House of Assembly constituency. That you can put 2 constituencies within one local government. You can put 4 within one local government. But you can't split, a House of Assembly constituency between 2 local governments. When that became the matter, we say, Adelakun, go and apply it. So he brought a recommendation.
He was the commissioner of local government.
He was the commissioner for local government. And he brought a recommendation which we all approved. And local government was created. But a problem started in Ife Mudaike. Ife Mudaike was a 3-ward within the Onamiyan local government. And before we came, I think the military must have created something. And there had been some, mismatch. But the INEC created, they call it FEDECO then, created constituencies. And Modake was not a constituency of its own. Therefore, Modake could not have a local government of its own. Because of the principle. The principle is that a constituency should not be split between 2 local governments. That was the principle. But Modake wasn't a constituency of its own. It was part of a constituency. So it had to be a local government within that. So we made Modake part of several other constituencies, maybe 2 or 3 constituencies that makes up Ife Central or Ife something local.
And Modake did not like that?
Well, the underlying factor was historical and grave. Even if we considered it, we won't be able to have a principle to resolve it as at that time.
And that issue also reared its head again when you became governor of Osun State.
Not that it reared again. It was never resolved then. It was never resolved for 20 years before I came back as a governor. So what I did, was to create an area council for Modake. By making it 1/3 of Ife East, and say the allocation coming from Abuja for Ife East should be split into 3, 30% should be given to Modake Area Council.
Did it solve the problem?
Well, since then, no problem. Since then, That was the end of it.
But how did the violence at that time, how did it make you feel as governor of Osun State?
It was disturbing me a lot. I had to run to Obasanjo and beg him to come and intervene, to come and help me resolve it. The reason was that they are laughing for you. They are Ujale of Ijabode. Arishekola Lao of Ibadan. They were all behind Modakeke. And they were outside my own state. So I needed somebody who can help me to talk to them.
Why were they behind Modakeke?
I don't know. Because Modakeke is an Oyo town. So Alafin believed and he wrote down.
Interesting.
Modakeke felt it's not Ife. Alafin felt Modakeke is Oyo. And Alafin felt that Ife was persecuting Oyo within its territory. And Alafin, you know how to employ the support of Awujale, of Arisekola and so on, to bail out Modakeke out of the problem. And it became, a terrible problem.
It almost marred your administration.
No, nobody can pass through my state. Some people were killed on their journey through the state. Some strangers passing through the state. So everybody was avoiding my state. It couldn't allow us to govern. It couldn't allow business. It couldn't allow, It was a terrible situation.
But does that speak of the kind?
I want to talk about ambition. And Bisi Akonde, a former governor of Osun State, is going to do this with me. I want to look at ambition, power, and perhaps see if there are redemptive lessons to learn. Ambition is a double-edged sword. It builds empires, yet it also ruins them. Ambition gives men the fire to achieve greatness, yet it burns them when consumed by greed. During the week, I was looking at the writings of Francesco Guicciardini, and I stumbled on this part of his work that I like. He said, ambition is not a reprehensible quality, nor are ambitious men to be censured if they seek glory through honorable and honest means. In fact, it is they who produce great and excellent works. But where is that ambition in Nigeria today? Where are the leaders who seek glory through honor? Where are the visionaries who fire burns for the common good? Instead, we have rulers, not leaders, as many would say. Men whose only passion is power. Men who, as Guicciardini warns, have turned ambition into something pernicious and detestable when it has as its sole end power. Now, Chief Bisi Akonde takes us back to the Second Republic in Old Oyo State when Bola Ige was the governor. In this story that he tells, you will help me define ambition. Chief Bisi Akonde on State Affairs.
You listed the number of commissioners in that cabinet.
Oh, yes.
And you also made a statement that some of them loved Bola Ige.
Oh, yes.
While others were competitors.
Oh, yes.
Towards 1982, the government began to unravel.
Yeah.
Political intrigues started to play out.
I was lost in it because I didn't know, I didn't understand the politics quickly.
You didn't understand it quickly?
Not quickly. One even argued with me among the commissioners and said, I think you are not part of us. Which was true because I was doing my job. I didn't know that kind of intrigue before then.
You said that Adelakun was the problem.
Oh, he wanted to be deputy to anybody, even to the devil.
To the devil?
He's prepared to be, whoever will make him deputy, he was ready to support.
So why did Bola Ige appoint Busari Adelakun into that cabinet? Because you kept saying the most feared Ibadan politician. You repeated it in the course of your storytelling.
Yes.
And Bola Ige brought in that politician into his cabinet.
Before we got to cabinet, I didn't know Busari Adelakun. But Bola Ige and Busari Adelakun must have been friends. He was Busari Adelakun's lawyer at some points. So they must have known each other well before I knew them. And I knew Chief Awolowo was not in favor of Adelakun becoming a commissioner. And I knew of a fact that Awolowo advised Bola Ige to make Adelakun something like chairman, pilgrim board, or something like that, carrying people to Mecca. But Bola Ige felt, yes, he could be able to be in cabinet. I can question his judgment. He has made him, a member of cabinet. But he became the most undoing of Bola Ige in cabinet.
How? How did he become the undoing, or the most undoing?
He's rigid. He's not educated. And he wants to be, whatever anybody could be, no matter what your education.
He was that ambitious?
He must be ambitious.
And was desperate?
He was desperate. He was everything put together. I told you he wanted to be deputy to anybody.
To even Afolabi?
To Afolabi, to Mishade, to Bola Ige, to everybody. Anybody that can say, you will be my running mate, he was ready to support him.
Adelakun was the problem.
And was part of the problem.
Later, it became Sunday Afolabi.
I think Sunday Afolabi had his own ambition, quite different from Adelakun's ambition. They appear to be friendly, but one was evil against the other.
Sunday Afolabi was the deputy governor.
Was the deputy governor. Adelakun wanted to become deputy governor. So Sunday Adelakun wanted to be governor. Sunday Afolabi wanted to be governor. Adelakun will say, okay, be governor, so that I can be your deputy. Or be out of the way, let me be the governor, the deputy to Ige. Or both of you be out of the way, let me be deputy to Omishore. That was Adelakun's position. And Afolabi, Omishore, and Adelakun. Omishade, sorry. Afolabi, Omishade, and Adelakun were friendly against Ige.
Did Ige realize this on time?
Oh, he knew all along. He knew better than we knew. I didn't know in time. He knew earlier than I knew.
So why did he keep quiet for that long?
Well, he's an elderly person. And the way an elderly person will handle an issue is quite different from the way of the youth. Honestly, I didn't know in time. But when I knew, and I let him know that I knew, the way he reacted showed me that he knew a long time before me.
And that caused a crisis within the UPN.
It caused a big crisis all over the places.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
Yes, Chief Akonde is still with me. Adelakun and ambition. Did he pay for it? Look around. The hunger for power has destroyed institutions. The hunger for power has corrupted the courts, poisoned the elections, and strangled the voice of the people. It has turned public office into private estates. Those meant to serve now rule. and those meant to rule have become tyrants in disguise. But a nation cannot grow where ambition is rooted in greed. A people cannot rise when their leaders fear vision but embrace vanity. A country cannot heal when its ambition is reduced to a desperate clutch for power rather than a noble call to service. Chief Akonde takes us down historical lane, taking us back into the Second Republic. You would see that if ambition is not well managed, it leads to crisis.
I want to read from your book. Let's read from page 365. You said, the man who came hunting for us was President Olusegun Obasanjo, Ige's friend for many years, who became our relentless foe. He and Ige met in the late 1960s when both of them served in the government of then Colonel Adeyika Adebayo, the second military ruler of the Old West. Since then, Obasanjo had dogged Ige's path like an evil spirit. Evil spirit. Why did you use evil spirit?
Because I know they appear in the open to be friendly.
But behind the scene,
it's a different matter.
You said during his reign as military head of state, Ige gave him a wide berth. Yet Obasanjo would not disappear from Ige's path. The evil spirit was lurking around, right? In 1982, it was Obasanjo's unsolicited intervention into the crisis in the Oyo State UPN that led to the night of long knives in Yola. Yes. Tell us the story.
Yes, it was an interesting story. I was coming from Cuba. I met a friend, Jim Wobodo, in Spain, and persuaded me to wait to watch the World Cup, football game between I think Brazil and one other, maybe Brazil and Germany, I can't remember now. So we watched the ball and Germany defeated Brazil. So I angrily left Spain and I slept. I decided to sleep in Britain with a view to coming back to Nigeria. As I was trying to unpack or resting in my hotel, a phone rang. It was Baba Adewale Thompson. And he said, "Oh, I'm in London. Do you know where Chief Awolowo is?" Honestly, I didn't know. And I let him know I was just arriving in London, but that I should find out for him. I called Segun Osoba. Segun Osoba told me where Awolowo is.
Segun Osoba was a journalist there.
He was a journalist there. And I gave it to Papa Adewale Thompson, the address. And Segun Osoba told me Awolowo was a guest of the British government, and that Papa Adewale Thompson should keep the address on a wrap. So Adewale Thompson went to Baba Chief Awolowo. As he was coming back, he asked for me, and he met me in my hotel and said, "There is something dangerous happening." I said, "What's happening?" He said, Lady Adebayo came to Awolowo with a letter written, from home, that Bola Ige and Afolabi attended a meeting at the instance of Obasanjo, at which Kam Salem, somebody from Maiduguri, can I remember now, Mungono, and some other big names in the MPN were present. And they were asking Bola Ige, Afolabi to let Bola Ige contest as governor, so that he will eventually take over from Shagari, And so that the two of them should allow Shagari to win again against Awolowo. You know, that kind of, I don't know what to call it now, mischief anyway. It never happened. All those things never happened. But it's a lie and written in a letter to Chief Awolowo. So they showed the letter to Papa Adewale Thompson. And Adewale, was shivering and came to me and said, come and see what's happening. They said, but like he went to a meeting at which Alimon Gono, Kamsalem, everybody, all these were, MPN something. And the decision was that Bola Ige and Afolabi should allow Shagari to win again against Awolowo, so that Bola too will be allowed to win, and Afolabi will have to succeed Bola, while Bola will now succeed Shagari. So when Papa Adewale Thompson told me the story, I was worried myself, because I knew that the day I was going to Cuba, I left Bola Ige in Ila Orangun with the Orangun of Ila. And as I was entering Ire, I saw SM of Afolabi driving to his house. And I was running to Lagos to catch my flight. And the date they say was about that date. It doesn't appear true to me. So I changed my flight that evening. I decided to return to Nigeria. I arrived early in the morning to meet Bola Ige. And I told him, this is what I had. He got worried. And he told me, yes, there was truly a meeting. It was Obasanjo, SM Afolabi, and himself, only three of them, that they met somewhere at Bodija here. And that the meeting never started until about 9 p.m. And that he had nothing to say other than Obasanjo begging Afolabi to allow him to contest and for Afolabi to run with him for another term. And because of what Obasanjo was saying suited him, he didn't have anything to say than to thank them. But they weave, lie around his neck so as to cause a problem between him and Awolowo and so on.
Interesting.
So, when I told him, he told me that story, and I left. But immediately he took his pen and wrote to Awolowo about the meeting and what transpired. So the letter was delivered to Awolowo by hand about the same day or second day. Immediately Awolowo got that letter, he phoned Afolabi. I understand there is a meeting with Obasanjo. Let me have a version, your own version of the meeting in writing. If possible, put the letter at home for me. Afolabi didn't write. He might not be able to write.
He might not be able to write.
Because, he's not that vast. He may not be educated enough to write. So he didn't write. But the letter was leaked to the press.
Bola Ige's letter?
No.
Or the previous one?
The mischievous letter.
Who wrote that letter?
I don't know, but Lady Adebayo, delivered it. It was a letter written maybe by Omishade, and Adelakun, or by Adebayo himself, Lady Adebayo himself. But Lady Adebayo delivered the letter to Awolowo.
And hell was let loose.
And hell was let loose. So there was party leaders in Yola. Well, we don't even know it was going to be a big thing. Bola Ige said DC and myself, we traveled to Yola as party leaders only. And we got to that meeting to see that plain loads of people were coming from all places. Supporters bowed, making a noise around the whole place, trying to blackmail Bola Ige as being anti-Awolowo.
Who were the arrowheads of this campaign?
Adelakun, of course. But all the others joined, like Odunjo, like Omabori Owo, like SM Afolabi, is a concourse anyway.
The intention was to make sure that UPN denied Bola Ige a second-term ticket.
Oh, yes. Because they wanted the same denial to be given to Ajasin and to be given to Bisi Onabanjo in Abeokuta.
And Awolowo listened carefully.
Oh, he listened. People, so about 23 people contributed to debate. I have a minute of the meeting. They contributed to debate. Jakande even moved the motion that Bola Ige and Afolabi should be removed from the party.
Jakande was the governor of Lagos.
Oh, yes.
He moved the motion.
He moved that motion.
Why did he do that?
Oh, because, it's part of the intrigue of leadership. He moved the motion that the two of them should be expelled from the party.
Was the motion seconded?
I can't remember what happened before Chief Awolowo intervened. But Chief Awolowo intervened by making long statements and remember all that the two of them had done for him when things were very bad in the First Republic. And he said he was certain, the two of them were not the way they were branding them. But that it was unfortunate for the two of them to allow, and because everybody knows, it is certain from their statement, from Bola Ige's letter, that a meeting was held. That Afolabi and Bola Ige and Obasanjo were at the meeting. But it was not certain whether the other people were there. It was not certain whether what they said they agreed upon was agreed upon. And Chief Awolowo was able to unravel all this.
And at that time, many felt that Obasanjo was Awolowo's enemy.
Oh, Obasanjo never hid that. Obasanjo wrote in his book, he said it everywhere, that Awolowo was his enemy.
And this was an Awolowo loyalist going to settle an issue with...
So Awolowo felt, don't scatter my loyalists because somebody who is not part of us. That's the conclusion of what Awolowo did.
And Bola Ige survived that night.
He survived.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
Yeah, a former governor of Osun State, Chief Bisi Akonde, taking us into history. Power and intrigue. Can you see that? Let me hear your reaction. Make it brief. Make it brief. 30 seconds, 35 seconds. Let me hear your reaction. Call the radio station. What do you think? You listen to that story. Taking us into time. Good morning. Hello? Hello? All right. We picked the call, but the caller did not say a word. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. This is Anthony on the line. I've been listening to you and I've been enjoying the program. That's been so captivating. Mental realignment or whatever I can use for it to me. Really came about an insightful program. Professor, you brought about revolution.
It's not clear.
I think what his point is that we need first a mental revolution, but we have to gravitate to radical revolution. I think with mental revolution alone, we might not be able to achieve something, but there must be inclusion of a radical revolution. But that radicality there, it is where the issue is, which way and how do we go about it? And for the last one here, about BC, they have made me to know history that maybe I wouldn't have known in my lifetime. But politics these days is a dirty game. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Just hit the nail on the head. The lines are open. Call the radio station. Good morning.
Hello, Mr. Edmond.
Hello.
Yo.
I can hear
Hello?
you. I can hear you.
You have been always promoting politics, forgetting that where you come from, that politics is there. You always said you can see the radicality of when Iwayan was alive, when the mention of radicality of politics in Western region. You see, when Chagari was there, they want to study for another Yoruba man. They're anxious to be ruled in this country. What of those who have that resources in this country, from south, south, and southeast? You don't even talk of them. Zik is the man who stands. They have been to the grave of Awolowo, but never go to the grave of Zik, who said Nigeria must stand as one. Who everything they want to do the Eastern region, they say they must bring it to Lagos. They have been somebody who is anxious of his own people in region, and a person who is a regionalist is not a leader. It's somebody who is a nationalist. Awolowo stand like Nnamdi Kanu, the Kanu who is in prison now. If you give him power now, we say it's people first. Ogbawo, we say it's people first. But somebody like this Shore is a nationalist. Peter Obi is a nationalist. It's people kind of people we want in this country. Not even this president. Why are you turning things upside down? Think who said that anything want to happen, Nigeria must be one.
Wait. Hello.
And you stand here every time in Western region, condemning where you come from as an Igbo man. It is wrong.
What are you talking about? Hello, what are you talking about? You're not hitting any nail. Wait, calm down.
But those who have the resources, can't you know that they are
calm down now. Let me ask you some questions. Okay, let me let him go. Calm down. He's just talking to himself. He said, I'm turning things upside down. Splash FM is located in the southwest. That is my audience. My audience is the southwest. Okay? So the program is dominated by Southwest View. Splash FM is not located in the east. It's a local radio. So first is to serve my audience where it is located. And number two, he said I don't talk about the Igbo land. I've talked about Azikiwe. I live in the southwest. When I went to Awolowo's grave, I went to interview Awolowo's daughter. I've not gone to the southeast. You can sponsor it. It's easier for me to go to Ikene. Ikene is closer to me. I live here. Okay? And I've talked about the Igbo nation. Repeatedly, I've done documentaries on Biafra. I've done a deep analysis of the Ahira Declaration. I covered Peter Obi lavishly in the last election. I've done analysis on the Niger Delta. And the notion that a regionalist is not a leader is a wrong notion. A regionalist can be a leader. A nationalist is also a leader. And by the way, was Awolowo a core regionalist in the true sense of the word? Awolowo went to the center. He wanted to be the prime minister of Nigeria. That is why he left the western region and Ladoke Akintola took over. But the point is that Splash FM is in the southwest. So you can see the guests are dominated by voices from the southwest. If Splash FM was in the southeast, hopefully it will be dominated by voices in the southeast. Because it's meant to serve the southeast. Splash FM license is for Ibadan. So you must also take note the sensitivity of the audience. The Yoruba audience is dominated by Yorubas. Okay, so you must build your content to serve that locality. Let's take more calls.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning again, Edmond.
Yes, good morning.
It's Olasipo from Akubo. What I want to add is that for the caller, it's not as if I'm placing blame on anybody, but we have to know that the Southwest is a very important leg of a tripod in Nigeria. Things are happening here, particularly when you talk of the centralization of politics, Western, Southwestern politics. And this is where things are decided. Even if we are to have a northern presidency, we still have the dominance of thought from the Southwest. They dominate all this. So when you want to talk about Nigerian politics, when you are giving 100% to Hausa, Igbo, and you get the Yoruba center, you are not discussing anything. That is number one.
Thank you. I have to go now. Next week is another time on State Affairs. Thank you for being there. I am Edmond Obilo. I enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed yourself too.